Welcome to a hot and sunny day here in Cologne and a special camera comparison between the Huawei Mate X3 versus the Honor Magic VS, two top foldable smartphones where the Huawei one is definitely the thinner one, and on paper at least you can see here already features a little bit of a better camera setup with a 5x optical zoom, which might beat the Honor's 3x optical zoom, but we have to figure this out. And of course we have some front-facing video cams as well. Do we really have to test them? Yeah, maybe I will do some videos about them as well. And this is now the Honor Magic VS front-facing camera. Despite it having 16 megapixels, which should easily handle 4K, it does not have any 4K support, only 1080p 30. It's a bit more cropped in, so we have like a one-time kind of lens. I'm using the outer display's camera right now. The inner one is, I think, the same as well here and only can record 1080p. I'm recording 1080p 30, but you can record up to 60 frames per second, and I don't see a time limit there, which is also quite nice. So what do you think about this one, also using the internal mics? Despite the fact that we only have 8 megapixels here, we can record in 4K 30 frames per second on the Huawei Mate X3. This is now the cover screen front-facing camera, but the one inside is basically the same camera chip and also has the ability, I think, to record 4K 30 as well. What do you think about this one here? It has nice stabilization. I think the field of view is also wide enough for a quick dirty vlog. What do you think about this front-facing video? Also, by the way, using the internal mics, as I forgot, of course, again, my wireless microphone system. And now I'm recording with the main cameras on the Huawei Mate X3. The cool thing is I can just flip the phone open and then use the cover screen as my vlogging screen, basically, where I can see myself, which is quite nice. And I have all the controls, so I can, even while recording 4K 30, by the way, no time limitation, I can just simply zoom out to the wide angle lens here, which is quite nice, by using just the touch screen on the display, which is a very cool feature. The only problem that I have with this one, the zoom in feature doesn't really work in this case when I'm vlogging and see myself here. But this is a very nice vlogging system, I would say, and having the possibility to just use the touchscreen on the outside is tremendously helping when it comes to vlogging. What do you think about the color stabilization and of course the microphones here on the Mate X3? On the Honor Magic VS I also have such an option to just flip the screen, though it does not give me any controls, and I still have all my controls on the back, so I cannot hold the phone on the screen itself. I just have to hold it in a different position there. And of course I don't have any options to pause or start the recording besides the volume buttons that they're now on the bottom there. I have 4K 30 frames per second time recording limit to 15 minutes, and of course when I want to go to the ultra wide angle I have to just go behind the screen again and find the zoom slider that I really don't see right now. There it go. It's not a zoom slider, it's a zoom button. There we go. And now I have the ultra wide angle. So this is a little bit of a nitpick here, but I really wish them to have an option, at least in the settings, where I can say, okay, I want all the controls on the front display as well, not just a live preview of the front display. Anyway, it's good that we have such option here. What do you think about the microphone quality on this one, stabilization, colors and so on? This is the Honor Magic VS. Zoom shot test now on the Honor Magic VS. This is 3.5 times native zoom, and I can go up to 10 times here. You see the bridge and maybe some stuff there, but I cannot zoom in further. What do you think? 4K 30 recording, again 15 minutes time limit. This is the Huawei Mate X3 native zoom 5.5x. You can see already it's a bit more cropped in, and we have the possibility to zoom in even more, up to 15 times, so a little bit better reach there than on the Magic VS that you will see in a second. And let's go back to 10 times, because this is roughly what the Magic VS can do. So what do you think about this one here in terms of quality? The Mate X3. Here we have the photos. On the left was the Magic VS, on the right was the Mate X3. What we can see on first glance, a bit of brighter picture, especially in the foreground on the Magic VS, where the sky is a bit more punchy on the Mate X3. Both have a little bit of a contrasty image, but you can see here clearly that there's a bit more contrast and a bit more sharpness going on the Mate X3, because it has a bit of superior optics, and this is on the main lens. So you can see here directly the advantage of the Mate X3. Also, when I zoom into the middle, you don't see it directly, but there is a bit of more contrasty look again on the Mate X3, and it is a bit sharper, a tad sharper, more detailed again than the Magic VS. And we go to the sides, you can see even more clear here where the Mate X3 has a bit more realistic colors with the dark shadows here, which look dark, where here for some reason the Magic VS made them a little bit bluish looking, which is not so realistic. When we go to the zoom lenses, it's very interesting. The Magic VS has a 3x zoom lens. This is the optical zoom here on the Magic VS. You can see it has some chromatic aberrations. It's not perfectly sharp. The Mate X3 is utilizing its main camera for the 3x zoom here, and you can see it's a bit more artificial for sure. And yeah, I prefer at the zoom level of 3x the Magic VS for sure. But when we go to 5x, it becomes very interesting, because this is a native zoom range of the Mate X3, and yes, the Mate X3 is a bit better, but you can see it's soft. For some reason it's very soft. The Magic VS is also very soft, but it's utilizing its 3x zoom lens, and it's holding up pretty fine here, I would say. Also, I think it is not as soft as the Mate X3 here on this particular shot here, but this might be like a fluke, because when we go into 10x, which is now 10x, you can see how much clearer the shot already is. But you see also the difference between here, where we have nice contrast, nice exposure, better HDR than on the Magic VS. When I go to the next one, it's becoming a little bit blue here in the background, especially a little bit overexposed, I would say. But yeah, also not 100% sharp, but of course a major difference to the very artificial looking Magic VS. So when it comes to zoom range, the Mate X3 is one of the best foldables when it comes to zooming in 10x especially. So yeah, zoom shots definitely go to the Mate X3, as well as I think the main camera shots. When we come to the ultra wide angle, the same story again, more shadowy look, more contrasty look on the Mate X3, where the Magic VS has a little bit of lesser contrast. Also the colors are a bit brightened up more on the Magic VS. When we take a look at the sides here, because of the more contrasty look, it appears to be a bit sharp on the Mate X3, but here the benefit of the doubt, I would say it's equally sharp. And both feature a very wide angle kind of lens. We can also check the metadata here, 13mm versus 13mm. You can see it's almost the same, but you can see here that the real deal is 2mm, and here it's 1.8mm. So we have a bit of a larger size field of view here on the Mate X3. Though you can see that we have a bit of noise creeping in already on the Mate X3, but also on the Magic VS, though the Magic VS is hiding it a little bit better there. And here in the shadows, the details and so on, you can see both basically the same, a little bit more contrasty look again here, especially when you look at the sign there. And in the middle here, you can see the roundabout, you can see basically on par, maybe a little bit more sharpening added here on the Magic VS. But this one is very close. I would give it like probably equal kind of benefits here for both, doing a good job. And just when you look at the trees here and so on, with a bit better contrast added to the Mate X3, it looks a bit more natural looking. Where the Magic VS looks a bit limited in this regard. But this is only with the ultra wide angle, so here I would give them both on par. But when we take a look at the ultra wide angle that is utilized also for macro shots, it's a night and day difference. Again, we have this overexposure on the Magic VS with a little bit more punchy colors. The Mate X3 for some reason has a bit of desaturation going on here, but when we punch in to 100%, you can see it's not a bad of a macro shot, but when you compare it to the Mate X3, it's a night and day difference in terms of sharpness and details, which are quite a lot better on the Mate X3. So in terms of macro photography, the Mate X3 is the clear winner. Selfie is also very interesting, where we can see a bit of warmer kind of colors on the Mate X3, a little bit of overexposure again on the Magic VS, and you can see the warmer colors here on my shirt already, which looks a lot warmer than this like a bit cooled down version on the Magic VS. We have also a difference in terms of resolution. So we have here 8 megapixels, and here we have 16 megapixels, so double the resolution. So, but do we have double the
data here to play around with? I don't think so. Even if I zoom in to the 8 megapixels, I think it can pretty much hold up with the Magic VS 16 megapixel sensor. So there's not much of a difference. A bit of a reddish kind of face here, a bit of more warmer kind of got a yellowish kind of face here on the Magic VS. I like both. I like the Magic VS a bit better because of the blue sky. Here it's somehow a bit greenish kind of sky, which is a bit weird. When we take a look at the portrait mode, here I like the Mate X3 a little bit better because we have the HDR kind of look. So we have the bluish kind of sky in the background, where here the Magic VS has completely overexposed this shot. Also in terms of detail levels, nice and sharp, both. I really like them. It's a bit maybe too red on the Mate X3. Again, the face here where the Magic VS is a little bit better, but the rest of the shot is, I think, a win for the Mate X3. Now let's come to low light shots. Very interesting, because here I think the Mate X3 with its like more contrasty kind of look has some issues there, especially in the lower light shots. Yeah, of course this emphasizes and it appears to be a bit sharper here and there, and you can see a little bit more details. Look at the plus and minus symbol, which are clearly visible on the Mate X3, where it's a bit overexposed on the Magic VS and don't really clearly see it. And look at the background here, which is readable here. This bottle, you can read it if you know German, where it's a bit warmer kind of color on the Magic VS and not so much readable. It's trying to do its thing, but it's not very readable. And the same goes for here. It's a bit darker again on the Mate X3, but you can see that it is readable here, where the Magic VS, it's very hard to read actually. And yeah, the same goes for the other ones here as well, which looks a little bit more sharp on the Mate X3. So yes, the Mate X3 has a more contrast added, but it's also better, I think, in lower light, a little bit tad better there in this dim lit situation. When it comes to completely darkness, I couldn't see the toolbox at all here. You can see the brighter exposure for sure on the Mate X3. The Magic VS for some reason has very reddish kind of color here, where the Mate X3 I think did a good job. It's a bit of greenish maybe here and there, but I think the exposure it nails it really. The Magic VS, however, has a lot of noise. It allows a lot of noise, which allows you to see also a lot of details, which is quite nice. So here you can see the algorithms are smoothing things out, where here not so much visible, no? And here again the noise, it's accentuating the background and so on, where here it's a bit smoothed up again. So both heavily editing here, but yeah, clearly the winner in terms of low light shots is the Mate X3 with the main camera sensor. I think the Mate X3 has the better main camera sensor. It has the better zoom camera sensor thanks to the larger reach, even though at 3 times the Magic VS with its native zoom would beat the Mate X3. It is very close together there. And yeah, at larger zooms, like especially 10 times zoom range, then usually you can forget foldable phones, but the Mate X3 can still keep up and produce a usable image, which is quite nice. So overall, I have to give the win to the Mate X3, even though I like the selfies a bit better on the Magic VS, but you can use, of course, the better main camera sensor on the Mate X3 for doing selfies, which is also a welcome addition there. So overall, the winner is the Mate X3. What do you think? Write it down in the comment section. And that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and until the next time, bye.